Okay, so this is the first time I shot someone in the head with a shotgun. Results were pretty crazy. I think until you've used all of the weapons in this game, you really don't get a picture of just how detailed it is. It really like overwhelmed me like how powerful that weapon is. This is the first time I used a Molotov cocktail, I think. Oh, yeah, that's pretty horrifying experience. It's more horrifying the weapons you use on people in this game than any of the shit that actually happens to you or your characters. A lot of screaming. I think this is the first time I used a nail bomb. Couldn't get over how much like blood there was. I think it blew the guy's arm off. I can't find the arm, but like obviously you could see it wasn't on his body. Um, I don't have any notes for this. This is this gave me a lot of joy taking this picture. I'd like to see more uh, comical birds in games. I think there's not enough of that. I think this is the first time I threw a pipe bomb at someone. Now, usually you'd save like pipe bombs for various Zeds and that, you know, clickers, shamblers, anything like that. But honestly, like sometimes you just need to blow people up. This chick's legs went fucking like I think her torso went flying. See, like the bomb went off here, and she went like her torso went flying over there. It was really messy. God, the graphics team is so good in this game. Like, it really like you get so immersed on just watching a corpse split into fly through the air. And this guy coincidentally was just chilling here. I thought that was funny, so I decided to take that as a screenie as well. I can't even remember how he died. He may or may not have like fell from above and like landed half and half on this, like he's chilling at a bar. This is in the Scar village where I was trying to like climb up because I'm sure you know by now, like you're desperately trying to find all of the collectibles and all of the places to loot. Some of the places you climb up into in Scar's village, you're not supposed to be able to access, and the game sort of breaks. I think in the next slide, there you go. So I climbed up on that middle ledge, and then I climbed in through that window, and then that's what happens. It just all goes blue like that. Don't think you're actually supposed to get up there. Shame though, I really thought, oh god, I found like this hidden loot spot or at least some Easter egg, but no, it's just fucking nothing. This is the first guy I used the flamethrower on. That was pretty horrible. I put off for ages using a flamethrower on human enemies because I was just like terrified it was going to be like fucking like really mess me up or something, like they're going to scream for their parents or something, I don't know. But yeah, it wasn't too bad. And this is him when he's cooled down a bit. As I say, not as harrowing as I thought. Isn't really that effective. Like the flamethrower in like the first Last of Us was so fucking powerful. Like it's you steamroll your way through like the final levels in the first Last of Us with a flamethrower, like by killing humans. But oh god, yeah. So that is a human head hanging through a wall. I went back and played the first Last of Us after I finished my playthrough on hard, Last of Us 2. Just so I got like frame of reference, got all of the story back in my head before I played through it again, seeing if there's anything that I missed. Um, and it really set the story as well. Like I totally forgotten. Like there's orders from the Fireflies to execute Joel and stuff like that. They really weren't good guys. Like no matter how you like try and paint the whole picture of the whole story, the Fireflies were definitely bad guys. They were just selfish, interested in saving the world at the expense of anyone else. Um, I don't remember what this slide was for. Oh, this is the first time I used an explosive arrow. Yeah, yeah, I remember now. God, that thing is a rocket launcher. I remember this being a like particularly messy kill zone, and I was thinking to myself at the time, like, if you walked around and saw all this blood, this sea of blood, would you really just be like poking through here, like see all the bodies of your fallen comrades who have the same training as you? Would you really be wandering through there? Oh, had to clip that. Had to. This is a glorious scene. So if you look bottom right, I've got 2 arrows. I realise I've already fucked that. That's 1 guy down, but I get no arrow. So this next shot has to be a headshot. And it is. And I got the arrow back. And I got another headshot. It had to be that, otherwise I was dead. It had to be.
Hey, we got another trespasser. A girl. Did you see her?
No, the fucking guy is nearby.
So, anyone who knows me knows that I'm a big fan of dogs, and I hate killing dogs in any game, but these mutts are just so fucking AIDS.
Check around here.
It's funny that previous clip, I actually, I think I actually died. Sometimes, like, partly well executed clips don't go the whole way you planned for. Like, this whole encounter did not go at all the way I wanted it, but I just Dark Souls my way around this fucking dog. I didn't take any damage through this whole thing. Like, none of it went exactly according to plan, but like that particular, up until that point. And explosive arrows trivialising encounters. Look at the mess it makes of all of these. 1 arrow just does all of them. Explosive arrows, it really is the equivalent of a rocket launcher in one of your old PS1 games. So this scene, now bear in mind this is on like survivor difficulty. It's usually these guys would just be able to see you, like, no matter where you are, like see through walls basically. But something about these plants, if you're prone in these plants, they get so fucking close. I didn't even know that you could grab people from prone up until that moment, and this is like my 2nd playthrough. Okay, so by now, like, I've played the game like twice through, and I've got a good idea on like what strategies to use, and I tend to find that like using resources up, especially when they're in abundance, is definitely the way to go on bigger enemies, because otherwise you just like you'll end up wasting your time like trying to be really efficient. You just want to use the abundance of things that you have, because you'll constantly be topping up on resources again, and you don't want to ever like go to pick something up and it's just full and then you've got nowhere to use it before you progress the encounter. You better just use up anything you've got in abundance. So this bit here, I get quite fortunate because he goes there, and then I'm like, basically I've got a way to run around that fire, and you'll see what I'm gonna do now. Like he like comes over here, but I'm gonna use this fire to my advantage, and I know that the other Zeds are gonna run through it. And he just goes down with a 1 tap, which is wicked. And I think he's the last one left, so just 1 Molotov and he's done. Okay, so this encounter, I actually like this. I had this one down as like an encounter that was like done really poorly. Now, I'm not quite sure how it happens, but it's like I get spotted really early. It might be the one above me here. Like they just turn around or something. Because it's not him. But they just fucking know that I'm here, and I'm like, ah, shit. Now sometimes I'll just reset an encounter, and other times I'm just like, okay, well, I'll see if I can make this like see how it plays out. 'Cause sometimes a good fight plays out better than like just stealthing through everything. Like your NG plus, you know, you've got all of your weapons. You want to use them sometimes. God, these big fuckers with the pickaxes. These will ruin your day. I take way too much time there shooting him. I should have just body shot him like as quick as possible. I was thinking about going for the headshot, but I couldn't see his head. Them pickaxes are a must. And if you do use one and it's only got 1 health, as they almost always have, you've got to use it and then pick up their melee weapon straight away all the time. Always remember that. I remember in this moment, I think I hear one of them move up. I think it's the one on the right first. Yeah, there you go. But what I don't hear is the one on the left. Look at this. And he's there! Oh god, I shot myself. I actually have my mic turned off while I'm playing so that you can't hear me like cry out, but my god, I was a little bitch then. See, up until this point, a lot of your big players, like your big pickaxe bitch and that, they're the ones that are like a real fucking nightmare. Like, cause you can't just sneak up on them and do them in. Like, you've like either got to use a shiv or you've got to like crossbow bolt in the head, and they're just more trouble than they're worth. But because I've already laid out so many by now, I'm thinking to myself, there can't be that many left in the encounter. It's not worth the reset now. I should go for the win. Throwing things and then like striking people is just the way to play in the first game. Like, you run out of resources on high difficulties all the time in the first one. It doesn't happen so much on NG plus on this. It might happen in the base game. But like just throwing something, I hesitate way too much. That's why they've dropped. I think one of them just like tanked a shot for me then, which is why I didn't die. It was just pure luck. But yeah, throwing things at anything and then just attacking is so much more the way to go. They actually changed it in this so that if you do that to a clicker, it doesn't like instant kill them. You do some damage though. It's like the half headshots when you shoot them with a pistol. See, a hard disengage here for a second and just wait for the other two to just roam. Re-engage stealth for the end. Cracks me up how you always say the voice lines when you grab them, and yet I can't think of a single instance where it's ever beneficial to like drag someone out of you. Like if you want to like hard stealth an encounter, you've just got to be grabbing people like right where you plan to kill them, because you need to kill them immediately, because if you grab them for more than 1 second they break out. And I know it's because it's on a higher difficulty, but if you're not playing on a higher difficulty, there's no need to go hard stealth. Like, you could hard stealth an encounter on normal, but there'd be no reason to do that. Like, you just stealth around every fight easily. Okay, so here, and this would not have been as like easy and obvious to me if I hadn't just played through the first one. Like, the first game is not you've not nearly got as many options as what you do in this game, but this tactic still works really well. So you basically you just let in your teammates sort of like tank one of them, and you can either like fair fight the first mob like what I did, or you can just like kite around the car. And then you're basically, all you're doing is you're just waiting for one Lev to get his 1 kill every 40 seconds, or whatever his internal cooldown is. And then basically, once he's had his 1 kill, then all he is just a fucking tank. He'll just sit there and not get killed for ages. And then you just run up behind the Zed that he's like fighting away with, and you just wail on him because they're not wailing on you. It's like 3 hits. So much cleaner than trying to use the dodge mechanic on multiple enemies at once. Like, the dodge mechanic is fine for a 1v1, but it's never 1v1s that are the issue. Nice. This bit, for me, outside of like the Rat King boss fight, I think this is probably the hardest bit in the game anyway. Like, human enemies are pretty difficult, but the reason why this is so fucking difficult is because you've obviously got the resources you've got going into it, and if this is like your first time going into it as well, like your first playthrough, it is so fucking challenging if you haven't got much stuff, and I didn't have much stuff the first time I did it. I tried to save resources knowing this was coming, and I still didn't have loads. And it's just because you have to fight through 2 waves of the undead. Like, the first scene I've just skipped through and I've just shown you this bit. But, oh my god. This was just fucking AIDS. Total AIDS. Like, low visibility, not many places to, like, there's places to run, but like there's not a lot of distance you can put between any of the enemies. It's not like you can reset at any point, you're constantly in the fight. And then once you've got these fucking shamblers coming in, like, the problem with them is they do the area damage, so if they detonate like any of their shit, like, you can't run through it. It does way too much damage on high difficulties. God, it's such a fucking horrible place. Like, I can't tell you how many retries I did total, but for this difficulty, with me already having like a tactic down, I think I did like 30 retries, honestly. Flamethrower is pretty fucking useless as well. Like, you think it's going to be really useful, but the reason why I use it like right at the start to kill that clicker and that runner is just purely because it's you just got to be holding it down to do serious damage. You get so desperate for ammo. I really wanted to use that shotgun shell on one of the shamblers, but that runner was just testing me. That shotgun round on the floor, then I'm pretty sure I didn't even pick it up. But you have to like keep moving. You can't fuck about. This is how desperate I'm getting. I'm just like, any damage you can get on them. I remember one run through, I must have landed like 16 punches or something on the shamblers when I ran flat out of ammo. I was desperate to get through. Finally one down. And then this bit here, I actually got through this before, and I realised that I was like pressing triangle rather than like forward and X, and yeah, one of them caught me right at the end. Sometimes you need a bit of grace, because let's face it, a clicker that stood still is a blessing. And that crossbow is pretty hit and miss. Sometimes you will headshot things and sometimes you won't. Pipe bombs are so good. Like, by the time I realised that if you just throw them at things, they stun them, and it just blows up. It's just like a free kill on most enemies. But even on like tough things like shamblers, it's still like you still just throw 2 and it does them in. That is a great way to initiate on any fight, honestly, because everything is drawn to the sound. They're not necessarily drawn to you. This tactic of just like fucking blowing up the worst of them and then like, having everything come run into you in a straight line is so so effective. Now this bit, if you're not actually after how I go about like a full stealth encounter, I suggest you skip this bit. I know one of my adoring fans actually wants to see how I handle stealth encounters. So, and the reason why I chose this one is because one, I don't break stealth all the way through, but two, when I played through this the first time, I actually this is the one where I killed 3 enemies and I just went like I just stealthed past everything and just left because I was so low on resources, low on health, and things were not going my way. And this time when I decided to go through it, I thought, fuck it, I'll full clear it so I can loot freely. All of the companions of this game are so good. Calling out enemies is amazing, and like what weapons they've got. I can't get my companions to do this in like fucking PvP games, but my companion in this game can fucking just like shout out enemies, highlight them, tell me what equipment they're using. Okay, so first thought is tackle the enemies up high. The enemies up high are the ones that are going to be like looking down on everyone else. Obviously things can look from below, but it's a lot easier to drop down onto enemies that you're trying to take care of than handle enemies above you climbing up. It's just not. It's always going to be easier to drop down, isn't it? And the way that like we use cover as well. If you're hiding from someone below you, you know, any cover covers your head. But if someone's above you, you can hide behind a box all you want and still see over the top. It took me a long time to get through this, purely because I just like, I mean, this is obviously my first attempt at this. As you saw the cutscene at the start, but I'm trying, like at this stage I'm still trying to like learn the pathing, because I never bothered to learn it all fully before. I just got so frustrated with it the first time and just needed to get past it. So the game has fluctuations of loot. Like you find certain areas are just there to give you items, and then other areas are just there to fucking just to fight. We've all been there. You go through this area which looks like it's vast and it's got all sorts of things for you to explore, and you find like 2 pistol rounds and maybe like a leaflet talking about like some fucking old world lore or something. It's just really really unrewarding. One of the worst things about NG Plus as well is just the fact that there isn't this checklist that tells you how much stuff is left for you to collect in the level while you're actually playing the game. You can like see it in chapter select, but you're thinking to yourself the whole time, oh, I really wish I knew if there was actually still a safe in this area, or whether or not I'm just wasting my fucking time. Let's see now, obviously I'm thinking about this guy that's right above me right now. I seem to remember having like troubles with him before. I can't remember if it was actually him himself or trying to like take him out and then getting seen by someone else. See, the biggest problem with like that noise, I can't tell if it's because someone is like looking my way or if they are just really close sometimes. Like there's no good indication of how much shit you're actually in, because sometimes they will just be like flat out not looking your way, but they're just like moving in a direction which is like parallel to you or something. Like none of them ever take random actions before stealth is broken. They all like just take paths over and over again. Certain conversations in the game which you have to like be around the mobs when they're still like while you're still stealthed, before stealth has been broken. You can only like listen to if you play stealthy all the way through. Most of the conversations are just utter trash, but yeah, it's part of the game that you just don't get to experience if you don't listen out for it. FYI, if I die like in real life and you're like using this as a way to like hang on, I want to be known as a famous gamer, and I'm fully expecting my YouTube channel to pop off any day now. Yeah, that crossbow, it really is. It's an effective way of like handling people at range. My God, if they are not stood still, I wouldn't bother. 90% of my fails, like from stealth encounters, are because a crossbow bolt hits someone in the body and it doesn't down them right away, and then I've got to fucking fight my way out because they've started yelling. God, this guy made it easy for me. Which I really wasn't expecting. I think a lot of the trouble is just from the one that I shot with the bolt there as well. Like, if I hadn't just took him out clean like that, it would have been so much more difficult. I skipped to this bit purely because it's just like looting. Just soft looting while trying to suss out the paths of the enemies. And all of which are like below. All on lower levels now, so there's like no danger up there. I could have just moved on to the next bit, but no, I'm gonna make sure I have a good looting of the area, which by the way is utter trash. I think I found three rounds or something. Trying to figure out what these fucking NPCs are doing, because you got like directional sound and you sort of know where they're going most of the time just through your headphones, but I really thought he was going to be able to see her body, but he doesn't. I'm not sure. I think she must have fell off. Because there's a weapon, and you just don't see a body anyway. Utterly clean. All the way through. Oh yeah. One thing I didn't realise, that the tension for the game is totally different if you leave some things alive. Like all of these like half cutscenes where you've like about to go through a door. Okay. Now this is worth putting in just to, because I'd be interested just to see how other people did it, to be honest. But I imagine the tactics pretty much the same. Shoot as much as you can, run. Shoot as much as you can, run. I imagine some people probably like the first thing they do is just run around and loot as much as possible, because my God, there are fucking guns galore in here, and there's good reason too. This guy has got so much fucking health. Like, some of the weapons that I'm using are not that hard hitting. Like the assault rifle, obviously it's definitely way better if you're hitting in critical spots. Which I'll be honest, no, I never bothered to learn. I just aim centre mass and just keep rinse and repeating. But honestly, some of these, like the shotguns in this game, are no joke. Like the shotgun in the first game was a big joke, a big fucking joke. But the shotguns in this game, not a joke. Hunting pistol in this game, and in the last game, really, really strong. So that's doing some serious damage, and yet still, like, not dead. That fucking stalker, it had to be a stalker, man. Like, they are the worst enemy in the game. Like, every part of the game where you're trying to go through a building full of stalkers is absolutely the worst feeling. Like, your skin crawls, and every time they jump on you when you don't see them, like, approaching from the side, you're just there shitting yourself. It's not a great feeling. Thank you, Naughty Dog, for that. So unloaded serious lead into him, and he actually died way quicker than I thought he would. It just went pretty clean. And then fighting this fucker, like, I remember the first time I did this, I think I killed this guy in 3 shots. Now I'm not sure if the difference between his health pool is going from like hard to survivor or just because this is NG plus, but this guy is seriously fucking tanky for what he should be. I hate it. Every moment where I'm just looking around like that with a flashlight up, you better believe that I am just like shitting my pants, I swear. I didn't even realise shivving them was an option as well when they grab you, which up until that point, I'll be honest, I hesitated there, that's garbage. Yeah, not knowing that you can just like shiv them when they grab you totally changes this encounter, because you could just get your health up, and if you've got enough shivs, just keep shivving them in the head. So there's always that tactic to fall back on, like you'd never be hard stuck on this sort of encounter. But this guy wasn't meant to be the boss, this guy was just an added fucking curveball. Still horrible though. Yeah, I wanted to take an opportunity to talk about going prone in this game. Going prone in this game is what makes this game so much better than the first one. Now, specifically, I've used this clip to show like some of the added bonuses of going prone. So, in this particular like part, the reason why I'm going prone here is because if I go prone, no, sorry, if I'm like crouched and I like go to shoot over the top of the car, I'll get shot in the head. But by going prone, like I can still shoot without worried of just getting domed by Tommy, who is like whooping ass. And then you totally trivialise this part of the encounter by running up here, where the Shambler is absolutely not strong because you're in huge amounts of open space. No fear whatsoever. Just like I was saying earlier, 2 pipe bombs, honestly. Like, good design of an enemy, but honestly, that like for this kind of area, not nearly as scary. Yeah, so if I'm shooting from cover here, this won't work. Like, but because I go prone, I'm not looking out, like, because when you hold down the aim button, you will look over the top of that table, and then other enemies will spot you. But because I'm just going prone next to it, it's not forcing me to look over the table. It just opens up this game so much more, because you can shoot people from such better angles. I'd love to use that, like that particular shot then as an example of it, but honestly that was just fucking luck. Can't even believe it got him in the head. Just wrapping up now pretty much this one clip, sort of just to finish off. A lot of my tactics involve like putting a trap like where I've already moved through, usually on a body. It's like dirty war tactics, that is, just trapping up corpses, and then when NPCs run to inspect them, they blow them up, and then it creates a diversion as well that you can use to initiate again on a different group. I actually end up slugging this out. Don't want to talk about it. Don't want to talk about it. Two enemies close together. No brainer. No brainer. Hesitate picking a weapon. Should have picked one like quicker and shot him while he was still on fire. That was my error. My error here, change targets. Pick a target, stick to it. Lucky that I'm one shot. That trivializing talent saving me as well. Didn't save him. Yeah, the getting shot by anything at any health and then it just letting you survive for whatever reason basically makes all of Ellie's bits easy. You can just like always operate on low health. GG.